So, friends, a couple of weeks ago, I made a video where I asked a question with regards to the concept of Western alliances, including the alliance of NATO, which is apparently or supposedly a defense alliance, which we all know that it's not a defense alliance. But okay, that's a story for another day. But the basic premise of these alliances where the United States is involved in them. And I went into in terms of how NATO, for instance, has 32 members, and the United States contributes 65% of the NATO budget. And then I asked the question of saying, are Western alliances fundamentally predicated on taking advantage of the US? And I concluded there that the answer is yes. Now, with regards to the issue of global trade, I'm going to ask the similar question now in terms of knowing now what we know in terms of the trade. I mean, there's the issue obviously of trade imbalances between the United States and a lot of nations in the world. Trade imbalances that are not fundamentally intrinsically based on competitive advantage, but that are based on nations cheating on trade. Tariffs, subsidies, outright banning of imports of American goods, of certain American goods, while insisting on accessing the American market. Obviously, with the consent of American leaders in the past 50 years, because no one can take advantage of you without your consent. And I've asked the question of saying, I'm asking now the question of saying, now knowing that after the United States have published a list of nations in terms of how much they have been charging the US in terms of tariffs or import duties. And subsequently, not even a single nation on that list has come out and responded and disputed those claims, while the US was not charging any of them tariffs. But the US was still the biggest economy in the world up until now. Though having its manufacturing base being hollowed out and being destroyed, Detroit, I mean, just Google the story of Detroit, how Detroit became bankrupt, how that just Michigan in its entirety became once being an auto manufacturing like oasis and now being what it is. States like Ohio, where cities, plants being closed because jobs are being being exported not just to China but to Japan, to South Korea, to Vietnam, to India, to Taiwan, even the EU, and then all of these nations protecting their markets from the US goods while they are having access to the US markets. The question then becomes that has the global trade in the past 50 years been fundamentally predicated on taking advantage of the United States of America? And my answer to that question is yes, absolutely. Global trade has been predicated on abusing, ripping off, taking advantage of the United States of America. And it has not, at any point in the past 50 years, been based on free trade, based on competitive advantage, or based on what a country is particularly good at compared to others. It has been entirely been based on countries cheating on trade, based on tariffs, duties, technology theft at certain instances, banning certain imports completely. Like, it has been actually been incredible. So that what President Trump is doing, not only is it right for him to do it, it's actually long overdue. It's long overdue. So, and the fact that this for me is similar to, in terms of like this issue of the NATO alliance, when Trump says to the NATO partners, you need to pay your fair share. And then you have the entire system of Western media attacking Trump for stating the obvious while refusing to address on the merit basis, in terms of the statement that he's saying that that we can't continue to pay so much for NATO. Why would 32, let's just say 31 nations contribute only 35% of the NATO budget while one nation contributes 65% of it? How is that fair? How is that fair? How is that fair? And instead of addressing that issue in terms of why one nation is contributing 65% of the NATO budget, instead they're attacking him, saying, oh, he's walking away from our alliances, he's walking away from allies, all kinds of incendiary, pejoratives, ad hominems, refusing to address the elephant in the room of saying, why are you taking so much advantage of the United States? That's really where the issue is. That's what the issue is. So even now, you won't hear any factual based arguments in terms of saying, is what Trump's saying true or not? Let's debate those facts. Let's debate those facts. And none of them are even interested in discussing, why do these countries even have tariffs to begin with. They're not saying anything about that. None of them are interested at all in discussing the issue that these countries have had tariffs of an American, regardless of what the rate was. If we all agree that the US was not charging them tariffs, why do they have tariffs? Why do they have tariffs? And also, what purpose is the World Trade Organization playing? What is their purpose? Because if the World Trade Organization still characterizes China as a developing nation, what then is their purpose? What's their purpose? And I've been listening and watching responses and reactions and commentary and debate. No one is discussing this issue. That free trade in the past 50 years has not been free. That people have been cheating. People have been cheating. And Donald Trump seems to be the only American leader who has had the stones to say no more. No wonder they tried to kill him. Yeah, so for me, it's a very important gift to have, to be able to see past the BS when things are happening, and to see past the groupthink that you are being all shepherded towards. That no, you need to see things this way. But that the question was A and B, but then what is being discussed is C and D. But no one is saying, why are you not discussing or responding to the statement about A and B that was made by this person you are responding to? You are responding to this person and his actions, whom he says his actions are based on A and B, but you are responding to his actions discussing D and E. No one is interested at all in that. Okay, folks. Yeah. And apparently Trump's fans are the ones who are stupid and uneducated and all of that. And you are the educated ones. Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah. Okay. Whatever makes you sleep at night, man. Cool, sure. Comments below. Thank you.